Most people love food. That shouldn't come as a revelation. But the problem comes in with how people experience food. It's not for lack of recipes. We all know there's a lot of it out there, especially on YouTube. It's not for lack of motivation. Today, we're talking about something a little more basic, why pressure builds up in the first place. But to sum it all up, it's when time isn't working for you, it's when time is working against you. Let me explain what I mean. It takes too much time, cooking takes too much energy, and we're doing it sort of what I call in the cracks, in between other activities that are important, that we need to do in our daily lives. This is not a video at this point that's talking about or going to explain or solve the problem of how to manage menu items within a certain meal so they all come out at the same time. That is a time issue that I'd like to talk about, but for now we're going to be discussing something else. Many times meals feel like an endless negotiation, especially if you have people in your household who eat different ways. So that's exhausting. And then you're dealing with different schedules. So some people are eating early, some people are eating late. You're spread pretty thin. I know a lot of people feel a little bit hopeless. They feel frustrated. They feel worried about their health. Um, and they feel kind of powerless. So this video is designed to help you with that problem and empower you so that you feel supported and nourished. A lot of people have told me they wind up eating fast and easy food. They want it to be healthy, of course, but they wind up eating the same thing over and over again. And even though they can be very creative, it does get repetitive. And then they wind up avoiding it because it's not exciting and they're really not looking forward to it. Most of us have stopped cooking because cooking is creating more problems than solving them. And unfortunately, over time, this is what happens. And I call this kind of insidious. The less you cook, the less confident you are. And then the less you cook. So it's this sort of terrible cycle. And you start to talk about talent as as something that cooking is a talent, which I firmly reject. I think people can have a natural inclination towards it, but that's just the beginning. Cooking is a skill. It's developed over time, and anyone can learn it. It's a muscle. It's just like any other muscle. If you use it, it gets stronger and stronger, and then you get more and more confident, and the results are a lot better. Okay, why should you listen to me? Because I've had decades of experience cooking. I like to say food runs in my blood because 3 generations of women in my family have been professional cooks. My grandmother, my mother, and now myself. Um, my grandmother emigrated here from Europe at the turn of the century. My mother was a fabulous baker, and I fell into cooking a long time ago. I didn't know I would ever do it professionally. I don't know why, but it was kind of destiny. But I did, and I'll tell you more about that in upcoming episodes. It's a pretty interesting story. I came in through the back door, if you want to put it that way, and I've never looked back. It's wonderful to be paid for what you're passionate about. It's a real gift, and I'm very grateful for it. And it's been a wonderful adventure. I've cooked for very high-profile clients as a private chef. They're picky, they're eccentric. It's a high-pressure situation. Then I've cooked in small kitchens for families with very small budgets. Um, and I have to make do. I have to do the best I can with limited resources. I have a lot of experience to draw from, and I'd like to share that with you. I'd also like to share an insight that I have. No matter where I'm cooking, if it's a show kitchen, if it's a kitchen in an RV or a van, the thinking stays the same. So I have to bring that to the table. I have to maintain a certain structure, order, and design within my own thinking so that I can put out the product and make the customer happy. And that doesn't change no matter what the circumstances. So that's the common denominator. And that's what I'll be sharing with you in upcoming videos and in this one. Cooking is a way of thinking. It's not a circumstance, really. Time isn't something you spend in the kitchen. I think of it as an ingredient. Like any ingredient, you can use it to help yourself, or you can use it another way, which is against yourself. So what that means is you can plan your menus for food that's going to improve with age instead of food that's going to deteriorate with age. And in professional kitchens, they take this into account from the get-go. They have to, because their meals have to come out perfect. So they can't have ingredients that did not sit well, or they can't have ingredients that could have been better if they had had more time. So you don't have to be a professional chef to think like one and to steal their good ideas. Okay, let's get practical. I have a wonderful recipe that I'd like to share with you that epitomizes my approach to recipe development. It's got 5 ingredients plus, and the plus are ingredients that can customize your base recipe. And this recipe can be knocked out in 15 minutes. You might want to let it cook a little longer, but you can get it done in a pretty quick time frame if you're organized before and not scrambling at the last minute to pull something together. That's where the work comes in. It doesn't come in when you're executing. It comes in before. Planning doesn't take a tremendous amount of planning, but some kind of planning, a well-stocked pantry, an organized kitchen, because that helps you so much. And then when it's time to cook, when you're rushing in the door, you're busy, you're tired, you're overwhelmed, and you don't want to really cook, or maybe you really want to do because you want to do something, fun and creative. That's understandable too. But you're ready, and the thinking's already been done. You just do the last bit of it, which is assemble the ingredients. Back to the recipe. This is a spicy pumpkin peanut soup. It's some of my favorite flavors, especially for this time of year. I cook seasonally, and it's winter where I live right now. And pumpkin and squash are things I just adore. I'm drawn to them. Peanut is another flavor I love. And the spicy part is up to you. I mean, I like a little bit of spice, but again, this recipe is customizable. So you can forget about the spice and just add some cinnamon. You could go herbaceous and add, thyme, THYME, and rosemary or another kind of herb seasoning. You can use what's on hand. You can make it special. You can add cream if you'd like and make it very rich. There's lots of different ways to make this soup personal and for you to express your creativity within the basic concept. So it's got a lot of flexibility. It's a lot of fun to do. And I think it's it's a special recipe. I've made it many, many times, and now I'd like to share it with you. Please look for the actual recipe in the download section so you don't have to start scribbling out ingredients while I'm rattling them off. It's very easy. You'll have it all written out, instructions, you're good. Okay, I call it the love-hate relationship. There are foods that love time, and there are foods that just don't. And we kind of know what the foods that love time are about. They're the soups and the stews and the sauces that take time to cook, not necessarily a long time, because you can use time a different way. You don't have to be laboring over the hot stove for hours. You can make the recipe and let time do the work. In other words, put it in the fridge or let it sit out And as it cools down, as time goes by, those flavors will develop all by themselves. Time will take care of it. So that saves you so much work. Time is doing all the work, not you. You're letting it happen and enjoying it later. Okay, let's get to the other side of the equation. Those are the foods that don't like time. Um, they're the crispy bits, if you want to call them that, the crispy salads and the sandwiches. Sandwiches get terribly soggy if they're let alone and eaten the next day. They're not palatable. So you got two camps. Now, when you're deciding what to make, I highly recommend that if you want food for the next day, you go into the love time area, the bucket, and you're careful about your crispy bucket and your hate time bucket, if you'd like to put it that way. Um, and then you'll have dinner. That'll be fine. And then for lunch, it'll even get better. So you'll look forward to lunch rather than worrying about what to eat and dreading the fact that you've got these awful leftovers that taste like leftovers, um, and you feel kind of deprived. That's not a good feeling. Okay, this is the first problem. I call it distracted time. So you come home and immediately walk in the door, and there's a million responsibilities you need to take care of. You've got to open the snail mail, you've got to check the email, you've got to deal with the dog walks, the cat feedings, the socks that are missing, the cranky husband, the kids that need attention. You're all over the place. And you can't really focus on creating some fabulous meal because that takes a lot of attention. And most recipes have a lot of detail. So the meal falls apart. It's falling apart before you even begin because you're not fully present. Okay, problem number two, time pressure. You're trying to squeeze a meal in between everything else. You're rushing to do something else. You just come in rushing, and you're just it's there's not enough time to do much of anything. And you're going to revert to what's easy and not always what's healthiest. So and there's no margin for error because you only have it's under a lot of limitations. And so that it's difficult to produce a great result with those kinds of circumstances. Okay, now the next problem is fragmented time, so that you are cooking 10 minutes here and 15 minutes here, and you're squeezing activities between, you're juggling a lot, and it's all kind of segmented. So you don't have that sort of steady attention that you need for some meals, especially the complicated recipes with long lists of ingredients. You got to keep track of what you've done and what you haven't done. And that's a lot of work when you're not laser focused. This is the one that gets missed the most. It's called what I call mismatch time. So it's where you're cooking something that is lovely and that you've wanted to cook for a long time. You've been inspired by a recipe, a cookbook, a cooking show, but it doesn't really fit your real life and your real needs. So it's wonderful and it might be totally delicious, but what you really needed was two meals that work for lunch, dinner, and lunch. And what you're going to get is a fabulous special meal that's only going to work once. And that leaves you hanging the next day. You've put a lot of energy into it. You've probably come up with a pretty good result if you've worked hard enough at it. Maybe not. But then you're feeling like you put all this effort out and you still don't have enough food. So then the problem starts all over again, what to eat. Now I want to talk about idealized cooking culture, the kind of programs we all love and watch endlessly on TV for foodies, beautiful cookbooks. Um, they all present a sort of reality that doesn't match most of ours, especially mine, these days. People are laser focused on what they're doing. There's no distractions. they're in lovely, clean, perfect kitchens. And yeah, when you are under those circumstances, it's not that hard to create a great result, especially if you have culinary training, of course. But those people don't live like that. So you hold yourself up to a standard that you can't possibly meet and wonder why you feel like a failure, perhaps. Um, so I'd like to bring this down to earth, make it real, and help you so that you can, again, get back in the kitchen and feel good about what you're doing and not compare yourself to something that's rather unreal. Um, I love talking about recipes. They're wonderful, and I could, endless amounts of information and wonderful ideas out there. But this channel is about more than that. It's about food. Because to me, food is just a fascinating world. It's a universe. It's a universe I've been living in for decades, as I've said. And I never get tired of it. And the reason why is because it's about so many things. It's about culture, it's about identity, it's about history, it's about geography, it's about botany, it's about biology. It's huge. It's a huge topic. And at this point in my life, I want to, think in the big way. I want to explore all those topics with you. I invite you to come along on that adventure. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like you to share your adventures with food, the restaurants you've eaten in, what the history of food that you know about, and anything that relates to what I've just said. Please share them in the comments because I love reading them. And um, let's grow this together. Let's share our knowledge together and have a wonderful time.